Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a bronze
Come
support.
on,
I
let's bring
believe
it
we're
together.
looking at Lucio, Moira, and Mercy for this one. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and
Looks like
subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff.
That's my girlfriend.
Hey Blah, how you doing?
Aw, you know I can't share my secrets. Ahorita regreso.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Mr. YouTube Kilo. Okay, okay. You're trash can main. Okay. I'm doing well, Blah. I'm doing well. I've kind of enjoyed my day, enjoyed yesterday. I'm having a good time. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna set this up. We're sort of doing the spam thing. I can live with the spam thing, but we need to think about how are we going to enable a push? Because pushes are great.
Defend objective A.
We have ourselves a Reinhardt on our team. We've got a Sigma, a BAP. So here's that we think of that we sort of immediately look at our team and go, okay, I need to consider what our team looks like, who I'm going to be supporting, what I'm going to be doing. And your first thought, since you're Lucio here, should be, okay, I do a good job of enabling Reinhardt. If I can give him speed at the right moments to pull him in and out, that's fantastic. If I can read when he wants to engage and disengage, that's going to be helpful. And I also want to protect my BAP. Those are sort of the two heroes that we see here that are the most interesting to us right now. We might do a little bit to move around to help Sigma go take off angles faster and such, but mostly we're interested in helping out these two right here, as well as other Lucio things. Forcing disengages on the enemy, taking our angles, all that good stuff. Enabling the push in general, really far back. Hopefully that's to bring your BAP up. I'd like you riding the bus. Now you're going to angle up. Fine. We hear the Sombra. So now we know there's a Sombra on the other team, and suddenly our priority list is adjusted a little bit. We've still got these two who we care about, but in caring about this, and in caring about this, and caring about our team, we are actually the first line of defense. We are the best line of defense for Sombras, for flankers. We don't have some D.Va that's going to deal with them. We don't have some McCree that's going to deal with them. And even if we did, we are generally the cheapest resource from a team standpoint because we can continue to offer our team our aura while immediately peeling and pressuring out Sombras. So that's actually going to be really high on our priority list. Anytime Sombra appears, we hear her, a hack happens, we're interested in moving our fire that is sort of spammy choke stuff that is meant to build up our ult more than it's meant to get eliminations. We're immediately going to accept that our ult is going to be slow this match, and we're going to turn our attention to forcing out the Sombra as quick as possible. We're not going to let her charge her ult at all. We're going to be like, no, you can't play the video game. You think you're the one who doesn't let people play the video game, who hacks people, who silences them. We're not going to let you play the video game. And you're going to force her out. And are you going to be slower to build beats because of it? Yeah, probably. But you're going to slow her down too, which is a pretty big deal because she's also the one you'd consider using your beat to answer, or sorry, wrong her to do, because she's also the one you're most likely to use your beat to answer when playing this matchup. So again, the three things that we're interested in right now, and you should now, 15 seconds into this match, have decided, okay, I'm working on this person, I'm working on this person, and I'm working on this person. That's what we're looking for. This guy's courageous for playing Lucio in bronze. I feel like it'd be hard to get value out of his speed boost unless he tries to be a Reddit Lucio. No, not necessarily. So you're going to spend more time on healing aura than you like in bronze, but if you do appropriately read, not, oh, my Reinhardt should be moving forward or backwards right now, but my Reinhardt is moving forward or backwards, you can still get pretty good value out of speed. So you have to read what's actually happening, not what you think should be happening based on the state of the fight, if that makes sense. Okay, so you turn for the Sombra. A little slow, but you tried.
Yeah, let's pick it up.
I don't want to be on speed right now. I want to keep healing my team.
You hear that?
Okay.
Someone has
I'm not sure why you jumped out here to take shots. Like, yeah, I like getting spam shots, but I was perfectly fine healing here. I was perfectly fine healing here. Going out here to get shots is like the risk versus reward doesn't really make sense. This is bronze. This is like 1200, I think. Okay. No. Like, you're sort of peeling off your Sombra. You're sort of like, I'm going to go push this guy. I disagree with this decision. I'm much more interested in being able to help move our team forward. But if I am going to go forward here and chase him down, I'm going to do it on speed aura. I'm going to hop up on this, hop over to this, loop-de-loo around this as I shoot at him, hop back, go like that, change directions, come back, and do that. Yes, you're not at that level of wall riding, but give me something from a wall ride level. Give me something and be on speed because you haven't taken damage yet and you just walked across a choke that enemies could have shot at you from, and he's potentially going to shoot at you. And speed is avoidance. I mean, I guess you can move him away. You just wanted him to disengage? Okay, I can live with that. Okay. Okay, so what does your team need right now? Your team is winning a fight, and your team wants to consolidate its lead. It wants to continue to press the advantage. So we're not going to be on this. We're going to be on this. Your team isn't like, you see your Reinhardt. You can't see everyone on your team, but you see your Reinhardt and your Genji are both healthy, and they're being aggressive. We're winning this fight, and we're winning this fight pretty hard. Even if we don't know everything, even if we don't have this view, we know just from this that we're winning the fight pretty hard. Our team has taken positional advantage. They've taken this portion of the map. The only things that are left that are scary are really the Sombra. That's the only thing that could be behind that might be scary right now. But your team is clearly doing quite fine, so we want to offer speed right now to try and get more staggers, to try to clean up this fight. This would be an example of your Genji and your Reinhardt are actually pushing. Now he's not, so you'd swap back to heals. No problem.
Oh, time to accelerate.
Good.
Oh, turn it up.
I'm on fire.
Hello.
Battle Mercy is always scary temporal. How dare you underestimate her?
Escort the payload.
Okay, try and hop up on the wall. I don't want you hanging out in the middle here as you're prone to doing a lot, it looks like. I want you hopping up on the wall. Even if you get less accurate, it's a skill that you're going to need to learn. So, like, I want you to think about, even if it's just a baby little wall ride and then I fall right off or I hop right back on and I don't do anything fancy, it's just a little bit of a wall ride across here, we want to think about that. I know it's a lot to think about at once because Lucia's weapon is hard to use and wall riding takes some mental effort, but I definitely don't want you doing what you just did now and what you just did before, which is just hanging out in the center of the lane like this. That's not where we want to be. We can be in the open sometimes when we're on walls, because walls and our ability to change direction and change speed on them levels up our defense a bit. Even if we're not very good at it, the opponents don't know exactly what we're going to do. We can't just hang out in the middle here and be like, my defense is I can zigzag. No, your defense is not that you could zigzag. Your defense could be you're right here and you threaten hopping up onto the wall. Your defense could be you're over here and you're already on the wall and you threaten falling off the wall. You threaten changing directions. You threaten swapping speed on the wall versus heals on the wall to change your acceleration. Like, you can do all those things, but you can't zigzag here. Even with speed, it's just not enough options. Okay, so we've also got to talk about this. I know. I just talked about wall riding. Now I'm going to talk about weapon play. You're shooting to the right of this Reinhardt, and I have no belief that this Reinhardt is going to move to the right. I 100% expect that this Reinhardt is going to, if he's going to move in a direction, it's going to be in this direction. It might be straight across like that. It might be sort of back like that. It might be like that. But he's going to want to go this way, and I can predict that. So I'm shooting his head, and I'm dragging my crosshair left. Because my weapon fires in a burst, you pull the trigger, and it fires multiple shots. So you pull the trigger maybe on his head or maybe just to the left of his head, and you keep dragging it a little left. And how hard you drag it left, how fast you drag it left, is based on how fast you think he's going to move. Yes, there's a shield here. Yes, you're getting value because there's a shield here the whole time. But you still need to exercise good habits, and this is a very easy target to practice on because he moves slower with his shield up. You can get, and it's very predictable what he's going to do, and he's a big target. So, like, try to do this right. Again, we're looking to go like, hey, you're very likely to move left, so I'm going to pull my crosshair across like that. Or I'm going to pull my crosshair across like that as I'm firing. Just very gently. It's not some big swing. It's just a very gentle adjustment. And if it's uncomfortable to do an adjustment that small, where I'm just talking like this, to like drag across like that, look into your sensitivity. It may be too high. Literally just off a game where you were Nano Battle Mercy and cleared 3 off the point in overtime. Nice, Dave. Nice, Dave. Nano Velt greater than Nano Blade? Well, sometimes. Whenever your Nana accidentally nanos me, you get confused and don't know what to do. Like, do I give up playing Fundamental Good Mercy or do I try and frag? Well, if you're Valked, you go, you can frag, right? But if you're not Valked, you got to keep playing good Overwatch, unfortunately. But what's this accidentally nonsense? She's doing it on purpose. She wants you to frag. Okay, I jest. Yeah, you got it, Dave. Okay, let's go back to our Lucio. Trash Campaign. That's a fun name. Okay, still don't want to be in the middle of the lane. On Lucio, even if you don't have cover you can duck into, like this, you want to play near walls because it changes your movement options. If you're not near a wall, you can go left or right or forward or back, or you can jump. Those aren't great. If you're near a wall, you can go left, or you can go up on the wall, and you could go back on the wall, you could go forward on the wall, you can change your speed on the wall, you can go the wall and immediately hop back and get higher. Like, you actually have a lot more in terms of movement options, and you're a lot harder to predict where you're going to go. If you're on the wall, you're also not at the height that people are trained to hold their crosshair at. The people go and intentionally hold their crosshair at. So it's like, oh, I haven't practiced this aim. I haven't practiced aiming up here as much as I've practiced aiming down here. Go get your team. It's fine. We're going to push back up? Fine, use speed. Use speed to transition. I know you took some damage, but you're really not in that much danger right now. So you can just heal this with standard healing. You do not need to boost. You do not need to amp. Your team is perfectly fine. Your BAP is right here. Your BAP isn't missing health. Your Sigma's only missing shield health. Amp heal can be useful when your team makes a mistake and you sort of need to recover from it. Like, hey, the other team got a TNT off type thing, and I need to stabilize so that we don't lose. Amp heal can also be useful after you've won a fight and you've got time to be like, I just want to soak some healing so I don't fall behind on ult charge so that I have reasonable speed beats between fights. Like, oh, we just won, there's no more cleanup to go had in terms of staggers, but it's going to take them more than the cooldown time to get back. Let me heal people back up rather than my other support. Amp heals is good for that too. So it's good for like, hey, we made a mistake and now our health is a problem. From like a TNT, a massive fire strike, something like that. Like, amp heal is good at correcting mistakes. Like, amp heal can change what would be a mistake for your team into, okay, we're okay, but we gave up amp heal, even though it's not great. Amp speed is generally for consolidating advantages or removing yourself from desperate situations. And amp speed is going to get used more frequently in combat. Out of combat, amp heal is going to get used. You can't use an amp heal like this when this other team is ready to push you. Like, this team is ready to push you, and like, you didn't dissuade them from pushing you by healing up. It's not a situation where the other team was going to push you because you were all low health and you just fixed that with amp. You just put your amp on cooldown, and now these guys are going to push you 5 seconds from now, and you're going to be less than halfway back to your amp. Like, that's not great. That's something we want to avoid. Yeah, no, I know you took a rocket and that's why you amped, but I don't care. Like, she's not going to hit 2 rockets on you. You're Lucio. Just avoid them. Sure. Does this feel right to you? You round the corner as a pretty low damage hero, relatively speaking. Not like absolute low damage. Lucio's weapon damage is fine. But as a hero who's not like super reliable damage, effectively, especially at your level of weapon control, you round the corner into a bunch of opponents to shoot at them. Well, they can't shoot at anyone but you. So there's going to be more people that shoot back at you than you shoot at. The only advantage you have here is you've kind of got better range on your poke than they do, and maybe Sombra wants to take advantage of this. Maybe, I doubt it. But like, these guys, there's 4 of them here that you've opened the sightline to try to poke. This was not what we wanted to do at all. If we were going to round this corner, it was for scouting, and we were going to do it up here on the wall for a moment and then immediately pop back. We might take our shots while we're scouting, but we're doing it for scouting info. You just can't justify rounding to try to poke down here because it's 4 sets of eyeballs versus 1 set of eyeballs. They are way more likely to get on a limb on you than vice versa, and they're also more likely to get uneven ult charge in their favor. Again, 4 sets of eyeballs versus 1. So if we did this because we needed scouting information, we did it like up here or up here. The sign's a little annoying. We can do that sometimes on Lucio, but we're not just going to round the corner on the ground. We're simply not. We're too likely to get picked off for nothing. No, and then you do it again. And then you're trying to like run it down mid when your movement is super predictable before your team is here to try to chase someone down. Like, you're not going to go take anyone in a 1v4. Maybe your Sombra will help, but she's actually waiting for better timing when your team actually rounds and pushes. I got in my head that I was going to try to boop someone into my team and tunnel. Okay, good plan. Problem with that plan, I don't really want to go down main to do that. Let me rephrase that. There's times I'd go down main when I do that, but if I was going to go down main to do that, my team would round the corner. That would call attention to them because they are more dangerous to the enemy team than you are as Lucio, and then you have more freedom to start sliding up here around and boop someone back. But now, you went too early, so even if you booped someone like D.Va in, your team's not here. You also went too early, so they started aiming at you, and they're more likely to continue aiming at you because they started aiming at you than to swap to the Reinhardt now that he's here, whereas if you'd let the Reinhardt and people sort of round first, they would have been less likely to swap to you. And that would be one option to boop them in. The other option to boop them in is, you're Lucio. You're super fast with wall riding. Just go around, come around here and boop them in. Like, your team will be fine. That's the play. If that's what you want to do. You booped them out. You booped them out. And you did it because you're low health.
Push
You fed. Which is fine. We just need to make you better.
Speed boot. I hope nobody saw that. Ooh. This is gonna make you feel better.
Sure. Are you gonna pull them out? Are they willing to leave? Yeah, pull them out. Pull them out. Help Sigma out. Help Sigma out. Speed, speed, speed. Now you can heal.
Raising the volume. Raising the volume.
I don't think this amp is dissuading them from pushing. If you look at your team's health is fine. If your team's health was super low and you were worried they were going to push because you had a bunch of people that were low health, sure, amp heal. But now you've just shown them that you don't have amp because they saw you going ooh, ooh, like that with your hand, so they know that you don't have beat anymore, and now they're like, oh sweet, now we can push you and you can't speed away? Fantastic.
The payload's not doing much good sitting there.
Yeah, let's pick it up.
Okay, speed is fine.
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
No. No. Don't beat for tires. Don't do it. It can be done. It's certainly possible, but tire lasts for 10 seconds, and your beat will protect you from a tire if the tire explodes right now,
Healing boost.
and will not protect you from a tire if the tire explodes right now. It's too small a window, and it's too small a window of the tire's life that the beat protects you from tire during. Don't do this. Especially because, hey, there's also a very real possibility that the tire's going to get eliminated. We try to eliminate tires. We can speed our team away or towards tires to try to deal with them, or to give them more time to deal with them, to give them better angles to deal with them. Sure, we're not going to generally beat for tires. It's not a good ult for that. Owie. But that's okay. I mean, we know what we should have done. Like, we're here, we see this. We're speeding, which is fine. We're pulling our McCree back. I don't know why we're healing. I want to get my McCree out of line of sight before I swap to healing. Okay, cool. Now I want to leave line of sight myself. Like, if I'm healing, I'm going to do it from here where I'm safe.
Sinistro.
Okay, heal. If anything, you swap to speed here, but I just don't like it. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. In bronze, I feel like 96% of tires are at least 3Ks, but I take your point, I should build better habits. Well, 96% of tires might be 3Ks in bronze. Are you going to prevent those with beat? No. You're going to prevent like 15% of them with beat. He's also going to charge his tire faster than you charge beat most of the time. That's not a trade that works out well. Now, for the ones that you actually prevent, it's a good trade, but you're not going to prevent very many of them with beat. It is too easy for him to outplay your beat. Like, too easy. Now, you can outplay his tire if, like, okay, you've counted how many seconds, etc., and then he's been trying to stall your team with tire, and he gets the tire down, he holds the tire for 7 seconds, and then he comes in, you go, nope, I'm going to beat because you can't hold your tire any longer. Sure, you could potentially outplay him, but no. That's not the standard. Feels like 96% of tires are at least 3Ks in flat as well. I don't think that one's true, YS. Reviewed a few too many plat games for me to buy that. Okay. It's not quite the right way to shoot. So let's do this. Again, I don't know who you're aiming at here. But what you want to do is you want to go, hey, I want to shoot at the Junkrat, or maybe just to the right of the Junkrat, and drag my crosshair to the right, because he's more likely to be retreating than pushing right now. If he's pushing, maybe I hold the crosshair basically straight at him and just pepper it. I might drag it slightly right because as he advances, but it would be less slight right. It would be just like that type thing as he advances on my Reinhardt, because that's the other option. So that's what I'd be doing here with my crosshair, and this matters. Like, you do need to get Lucio aim for your beats to keep up and to be threatening enough. We're doing our reload. Cool, and now we don't see any targets, and if we don't see any targets, we go Lucio shot, Lucio shot, Lucio shot. Well, okay, let me get the actual shots there. We drag like that because someone's going to round out the corner like that and come forward. They're going to round the corner and come forward. And we need to be predicting that. Totally fine to spam a choke that opponents want to advance on as Lucio. It's something Lucio does a ton of. It's good habits, but that's how we do it. We got to be going, hey, they're going to break the choke and then they're going to advance. Let me aim that and drag it. That's how I'm going to get more beats, put more pressure on the team. Instead, we did the opposite. We shot up here, which is unfortunate. But even if we remove the height mistake, we came in. We dragged in with this, which doesn't make sense. Because of the order that our shots fire in, this shot is going to get there first, this shot next, this shot next, this shot next, this shot. Like, that's what we're looking at. Well, that's opposite. They're coming out from here as a player. So we're not going to, this shot and this shot can't possibly both hit them, right? Unless they somehow get out in time and start walking back to take it. So we needed to drag this way out so that our order of our shots was, if we drag this way out, the order that our shots get there is this, then this, then this, then this, then this, and these can all actually hit. That's a thing that can actually happen. The Diva Bomb Pact was fulfilled. Someone has been watching Flatzo. Does he have a thing about Diva Bomb Pacts? Okay. Oh, the Queen of Bronze. Okay. Spectating Bronze has replaced Breaking Bad as your favorite show. Okay. Hey, Quackers. Plat is full of ego, smurfs, and boosted accounts. Just overpower them. So you took one for the team. Pretty chill, but also somewhat frustrating in Bronze. Okay. Let's hop back on our Lucio here. That's not head height. That was almost right there. Again, we have a specific thing we want on dragging away from opponents. So dragging in the direction opponents are expected to walk. Okay. That was better. We don't need to shoot him in the legs. Maybe an amp heal there. Pull your team all the way up. And you can get on comms and ask them back, we'll push to 6. Like, you can just call speeding back, things like that. Lucio should basically never get shattered because we live on the walls. Remember to press the like button. Thank you, Val. Thank you. That's a good reminder for everyone. You needed to think about which way to boop her to actually cancel the res. She failed. You didn't really boop her out of that res. She failed.
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
I just... It's kind of late. Not great. It's possible that'll help. Speed. Heals won't help you. Good. I don't know, guys. It hasn't been 96% of tires getting 3Ks in this game so far. We've seen Bap eliminated tire and Sigma eliminated tire. Panic beat TM. Okay. Sure. Speed on back. I don't know why you flipped heals there, but yeah, deal with it. What? Hey, I like the wall riding, but we gotta plan where we're ending up. We can't just end our wall ride in the middle of the lane with no walls near us. That's not gonna work. If you see a teammate use a big, powerful ult like this, like EMP, like Blizzard, like Grav, your first instinct almost no matter what, should be to go over to speed, and there should be a strong secondary instinct to press amp. Amp speed is what I'm talking about, to consolidate your advantages, to make sure that you actually turn your advantages into teamfight wins. Amp speed is really good at that. If you don't have amp available because you used it for something, speed is still generally worth it. So I definitely want to be on speed as soon as I see a good ult going off for my team. That means my team is going to initiate. They're going to push. It's a very strong reason for me to want to speed because my team wants to get aggressive when we're ulting. If the other team is ulting, it's very likely that they're going to do something powerful and they're going to want to aggress on us, and we probably want to retreat for that. So what do you know? Speed again becomes a pretty good solution, something we might want to do, and amp becomes particularly likely, especially if they're doing things like windows, blizzard, self-destructs, transcendences, beats, things like that. I'd like to retreat from those. So we'd like to think about, ult means speed. I don't know why you're in the middle of the lane.
Time to wait, my
Speed, speed! You have a big ult flux going off. We want speed. I don't know why you're still on heals. Like, people are fine. We're trying to finish them off. We need the offensive power of moving faster. Okay. Let's see if we keep playing Lucio.
Ready for battle.
I don't want to overwhelm you, but tentatively the things that we're looking at for Lucio are weapon play. This is not immediately going to pay off. It's not. But weapon play, in terms of the drag that I'm talking about, on people in general, but especially when you are spamming at a choke that no one's at, where you're dragging out, or when you're spamming at people that you expect to retreat towards a choke, where you go, I drag my weapon this way with my shots, or I drag my weapon this way with the shots, depending on whether there's no one there, but I think someone might come around, or there's people here and we're winning, and I expect them to retreat. So get used to that drag, practice that drag, do that drag. That'll get you more damage, it'll get you more beats, it'll happen to combine for more spam damage that'll sometimes combine with other people's spam for eliminations. Like, this matters, and it's not going to be tomorrow you're fantastic at it, but this is the beginning of understanding and learning how to use Lucio's weapon, and this is a long-term thing that you're going to have to work on. So that's weapon play. That's the first thing that I'd be interested in on your Lucio. Something that'll get you bigger output fast is going to be amp, or at least speed, ults. This doesn't apply to every single ult, but in most situations, when an ult is going off, I'm trying, guys. When an ult is going off, what you want to do is you want to be on speed, and you probably want to amp it. Now, if you get grabbed, you're probably not amping speed. You're amping heals. That would be an example. But, like, if the opponents are using beat, you probably want to amp speed so your team can pull away. If you're using beat, you probably want to amp speed so you can push in, so that you can pursue enemies while your team has that extra health. If you're getting tack visored, you probably want to amp speed to pull your team out. If you're blizzarding, you want to amp speed to chase them down. If you're getting blizzarded, you want to amp speed to get your team out. Like, when ults happen, your instinct should generally be to go to speed and to press that amp button. And this is free SR. This is the freest SR that you're going to find, in terms of it's a pretty easy change to make to get you noticeable benefits. This is harder, but is a longer term investment. And then the third thing is you got to get on the walls. You will drive yourself nuts if you try to work on this and this at the same time. It's hard. I'm okay if you don't immediately work on the walls because you're focusing on your aim, but what I want you to do is I still want you to play near cover like other heroes would. Play near cover. Don't play in the middle of the lane. If you're going, hey, I'm working on my weapon play and wall plus weapon play at the same time, it's too much. It's going to frustrate you. It's hard. Level up your weapon play to a level that it's like, okay, I at least understand how to do this choke spamming, and then you can worry about, hey, let's add the wall. So the walls are in your future, and they're near in your future, but I want you to do these two things first, one at a time. Okay. I'm talking about walls, and the reason I'm talking about walls is because it's not right as Lucio to just go, I'm going to just hug corners and I'm going to play like that. It's not right, but it can be a stepping stone for you while you work on this. I don't want to tell you that the right way to play Lucio, though, is to hug corners, because it's not so much as using the walls are. But you can use it as a stepping stone. You're just going to know it's wrong. And I don't want to be like, teach you wrong unless you know that, okay, I'm doing this as a stepping stone. The floor is lava bronze, Lucio. Yeah, but I don't want the, again, I'm not going to make that your real focus. I'm just letting it be there. So now we're going to move on to Moira.
You should be at peak power.
If any of those don't make sense, Trashcan Man, you let me know in chat there. I can definitely explain them again, try to explain them differently, see if that makes sense.
The best mistake one could ever make.
The floor is lava, but keep trudging around in lava until you shoot the right place, Bronze Lucio. Well, keep trudging around in lava with cavern walls near you, with the edge of the trench near you. Good, good.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
This is my will.
It's not amazing. This is King's Row,
Incoming.
and I know Widows can't aim, but you're standing still as this door opens. Like, potential benefit of this orb is, ooh, yay, I got some ult charge. Maybe this combines with some spam damage from your team and you get an elimination. Big maybe. Way more likely, Widow, Boosted Ash, Hanzo, whatever, shows up here and one-shots or two-shots you before you're able to get to cover. Way more likely. Don't do this. This is not worth it. If you want to throw this orb from somewhere like here where that doorway can't see you and just be like, I'm going to bounce this there type thing. But we're not going to stand where that can see us.
This is my will. Help me.
Enemies in our orbit.
Going to the Yeshu. My will
Okay.
be real.
So you're in charge of your tanks right now. You're in charge of your tanks, not McCree. Mercy's got McCree.
Get into position.
Good pressure. Fine. I'm really more interested in Sigma than Sombra here. You can't know that Mercy knows her job, but that Mercy knows her job. Like, if you look at who Mercy is working with, Mercy is actually paying attention to McCree and Sombra mostly, with a little bit of attention to you and Sigma, and you're also trying to pay attention to Sombra and McCree, and that's a problem, because you help your tanks way more than those people, and Mercy helps those people way more than your tanks.
Touch from afar.
Please leave. That's a lot of healing.
Touch from afar.
Like, you don't need to hard heal this. I know that they're right in the line of fire, but you're okay. Good, you do break for a moment there, but then you hard heal again. You can let the dot tick a little bit. It'll tick for a few seconds after you stop directly healing someone, and you can increase your resource efficiency by letting it tick a little if they're not taking extreme amounts of damage. And yeah, I know, you're doing okay with your resource management, and I see that you're doing okay with your resource management. You've still got 2/3 resource left and you're 60% to your ult, so like you're probably going to be okay unless things go wildly bad, but that was a little heavy on your Sombra.
Help me.
You don't have fade, you're behind cover, suddenly you're not behind cover, you need to drift right, you don't drift right. I don't know why you think you can do this. You got to play tighter on the cover. Got to play tighter on the cover. Remember, I was like, hey, use regular positioning with your Lucio until you get your aim a little bit more under control, so then you can think about wall riding. Well, regular positioning is we have cover that we can close on people like this. Not out here. Not out here. This is a big difference, actually, in terms of how quickly you can close. Because remember, the first shot usually isn't going to take you out. It's the follow-up shot that's going to do it. So you need to make sure that you can be behind cover before the follow-up shot does it. Now, yes, sometimes you'll go down to combinations of damage, and yes, there are one-shot heroes.
Step rider.
Reboot and try again. Helden sterben nicht.
That's fair as well, Quackers. You can throw the orb before their spawn opens.
Been here all the
Oh, I'm thinking Sombra for some reason.
Be right back.
They came back at the same time. Took roughly the same path. All good.
You should be at.
I am optimized.
I'm still in Sombra's support land, guys.
This will restore objective.
I got caught in a time warp.
Stop the payload.
Repairing the damage. This is my will.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
What are you doing? What? What?
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
This is a window. They do double damage through this. Like, they're not opening the lane, but if they do, they'll do a ton of damage to you. And they're not really stopped from opening the lane right now. They're just choosing not to. So please get yourself behind cover. Play over here where you can be like, I can heal my Reinhardt. I can heal my Sigma if I want to. I want to be over here. I got to pay some attention to what's up there, what's back here. But I want to be over here. I don't want to be here. There's a window in front of me. That's way too scary. Tip of the spear. No. You don't even get anything out of this. You have full resource right now. Like, the reason you put pressure on opponents, yes, you put them on a little bit of timer, you put a little bit of damage pressure on them, but you're doing it in a lot of ways to sustain your resource, which you haven't spent any of yet. You especially don't do this here while their window's up. Yes, you're in front of their window now, but you don't do this. You just play over here, and then when they start to push in, you'll be able to zap them from behind your Reinhardt, and it'll be great. Or if your Reinhardt rounds, you can try to zap them through your Reinhardt. You don't even have to see who you're zapping. You're just like, I trust that there's someone there, and I'll zap them, and it'll be fine through my Reinhardt. And my Reinhardt's body is my shield.
This will heal you.
Okay, either drift left tighter on the cover or right more behind your Reinhardt. Left on the cover is fine with me. Left on the cover is fine with me. What? You're not going to fade after taking that? Hold on. You took massive damage. You're not like right on the cover where you can instantly close it, and you're going to turn around rather than fade immediately. Your survival instincts seem to be missing something. Oh boy. Oh, we don't fade for the tire either. It hurts. Okay. So, if we take damage, if we take meaningful damage, like half our health like that, we gotta use fade to get ourselves to somewhere that we can then play more conservatively and we're less likely to take more damage. Or, we can go, hey, if one step does it, no problem. But that was not the case there. You had to fade because your positioning was poor. And you didn't, so you got eliminated. Yeah, Ryan called that he was going to get in front of the window, so I tried to follow, but ended up leading. Okay. What happens when you switch to spectate someone on the other side? Do colors change? Nope. We can swap Reinhardt on the other side. See, he's still blue. He's still red.
Surrender to my will.
Oh, you're saying that in response to this should have changed. Yeah, I see what you're saying. The reason that they haven't done it swaps thing to you're always blue is because you might be reviewing some of the game like this and some of the game like this.
Get into position. Surrender to my will.
Okay. It's bronze. I'll deal. I'll deal. So this isn't how we use Coalescence. We can use Coalescence to enable a tank, especially to enable a tank to get their ult. But your Sigma is fine with this Flux. He can use this to protect himself, and you're not using the Flux generally to enable their ult, you're using the Flux to enable them to get their ult. Flux is like a little too valuable for what you're using it for here. You're using it to be like, I'm healing you from far away because I'm not there yet, but he's not really in danger. He's doing his Flux, he's not getting the follow-up damage on his Flux that he'd like because he doesn't want to get eliminated and cancel the slam, so we get that. It's kind of just going to be a bad Flux at this point, and that's life. We don't want to pour good ults after bad ults here. What we want to do with our Coalescences is we want to get up here, get to a point where, hey, our Reinhardt's here, our Sigma's here, whatever. Get to a point where we see that there is a squishy, like this Junkrat, like this Mercy, a good 2 seconds plus from cover, maybe a second and a half plus from cover, and then we want to pop Coalescence, and we want to just drill them with the Coalescence. Drill them with the Coalescence, and we stick to them like glue. If they go over here, we adjust ourselves. As long as we don't put ourselves like in the middle of the enemy team, we adjust ourselves to make sure that we eliminate that target before it gets to a place that we can't follow. That's what we want to do. And then once we get that elimination, we can downshift to, I'll just spend the rest of this Coalescence focusing my Reinhardt while getting max cleave damage if I can, or focusing my Sigma while getting max cleave damage if I can. But we try to get an elimination, then downshift to pocketing our tanks. We can also go, hey, I'm going to pocket my tank who's aggressing hard, like my Reinhardt who's swinging at their tank. That's a reasonable use of Coalescence. Can't really use it here, though, on our Sigma. When our Sigma's flexing, we're not going to get any cleave potential off of it. It's not really going to let him do more. It's not letting him play super aggressive. That's not going to work. It's not just I use this to massively heal my team. It's got to either get eliminations or enable serious aggression from your team, which it's not doing. You weren't taking damage. I get why you were scared, but you weren't taking damage. Sure. Your McCree wasn't taking enough damage. The orb was fine. You wanted to spray on Rein. And willing Rein to be there doesn't make him there. Go to where he actually is. The replay viewer is in consistent colors with turrets, ice blocks, Mei walls. Mei walls change color before your eyes as they spawn. It's amazing. Sometimes Coalescences don't exist, though recently that's been better.
I will rebuild you. This will heal you.
Still not a 3K. Okay, jump to the right target. Wait, is scope sensitivity not... Wait, is scope sensitivity not on par with hipfire sensitivity at 100 cents? No. Like on Widow Ashnana, I thought 100% meant 100% of hipfire sensitivity. No. You need to... There's actually a post... There's posts for what will make it as best you can get, but your field of view actually changes when you're scoped versus when you're not scoped, so it's never going to feel exactly the same as hipfire, but you can get as close, or you can get close in how many people feel it, and there's numbers that exist for Ana, Widow, and Ashe, and you can go look them up. There's actually a post on Overwatch University. I thought about reviewing it. It's the Ultimate Aim Guide. I didn't check to see if it used the right numbers for what specific scope sensitivity you set to match those as best you can, but I assume it got them right because they're there on the internet and they have been peer reviewed by other people in the past, so if they got the wrong ones that would be embarrassing. But But no, 100 doesn't just mean 100%. It's exactly the same. Again, it's not going to be 100% perfect however you do it, because your field of view changes. And your field of view changes, like the field of view is referring to how much you can see on your screen here. This changes when you scope. And because that changes, you're really not going to be able to make it a perfect one-to-one. Because, like, we could even go into our settings. No, we're not going to go into our settings, and you can see what field of view is in Overwatch, and I believe it's even a little bit adjustable, and you want it to be max and usual, but because you are playing with this much field of view as opposed to this much field of view, it's never going to feel perfect as a one-to-one, but you can get it close. And I'm mostly a fan of the ones that are considered the equivalent, even if they're not exactly. Okay. Like on Widow Ashnana? Yeah, no. Willing Ryan to be there doesn't make him there. Okay. It's a thing you can write down. 3 pages of notes. That might be a lot. Remember, you're focusing on one thing at a time there, YS. No problem, Quackers. Why did you fade out? Just use your Reinhardt. You don't count on Reinhardt's shield. You can use Reinhardt's body as your shield. Like, I don't love that you're here in the first place. I would probably prefer that you play from here. We've got real reliable cover, but I can understand the concern about Junkrat ricocheting. So if you want to play back here, fine. But just play Reinhardt here. Don't go, well, you're missing enough health. Okay. You shouldn't really have been up there in the first place in that case.
To my will.
So what are we doing? Are we enabling Reinhardt? I don't think we're enabling Reinhardt because our Reinhardt is too far to swing right now. So do you have someone in mind that you're going to eliminate with this? Is it the Junkrat? That's the one who your crosshair's closest to. You can get the Junkrat here. It's not amazing because your team's going to have a little trouble keeping up. You probably popped this a little early. But if you think you can get the Junkrat, that's worth. No, you had to use the speed, the insane speed that you have with Coalescence to rip this angle open faster. You can't let the Junkrat break line of sight on you like this, because even if he breaks line of sight for a second, the Mercy's going to heal him back up. That doesn't work. You have to use the fact that your Coalescence does do more damage than the supports are going to be able to keep up with if they don't get chances to catch up. You have to. Really, you popped this Coalescence too early. Because you also want your team close enough and engaging and such so that they are likely to get cleave benefits from your Coalescence, but also so that the supports are overwhelmed by other damage that's coming in too. They can't just hard focus your Coalescence. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, YS. If that helps your brain, that's fine.
Step Rider.
This will heal you.
Too far.
This will heal you.
I can heal him just fine from here. I need to peek when I need to right click, but right now I'm left clicking. I'm healing. So let me peek, use this. I'll peek for this, but use this when I'm healing him. Don't need to wander into the open. Okay. Oh, back to Lucio. Howie. Walls help with that. They also get you out faster and get you to point faster. Okay, extra time rounds. Are we playing Moira or Mercy for this first one? Moira. Then we won't go over Moira stuff yet. We'll go over Moira stuff after.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. Your home opposed.
And close the angle before breather ends. You don't want to get hooked. Good. A little heavier than needed on fall, but you're back to full. Good. Easy, easy. Your ball's out. You can tap heal him. If you want to hard heal him a bit to get him up to like 60 to 80%, so be it. But you can tap heal him, puff heal him, whatever you want to call it, heal him. Lighter healing than this once he gets here. Like, you're good. You're good. You can just tap the hot, not constantly, but every couple seconds tap to reapply the hot rather than hard heal at this point. Like, that would be preferable.
Repairing the damage.
That's way more than you need. You applied the hot with a single puff. Look at that. Look at that. We spent 30, almost 40% of our resource on a ball that was in no danger of follow up on him because there was an ice wall blocking the opponents from pushing. Like, why would we do that? Yes, it was their ice wall, and yes, they controlled it, but once we got him to like 60 to 80%, there was no danger. Now you're going to have to balance your resource a little bit to make sure you get coalescence in time, because you spent 30 to 40% of your resource and you're only 25% on your ult.
This will restore you. Touch from afar.
Why did you let your Reinhardt back up on you? Like, he's going to back up. You have to adjust to the reality that he's backing up.
Arios.
You don't need the damage orb on the junk.
60 seconds remaining.
Easy. Your Reinhardt's fine. If you want to hard enable your Reinhardt to hard swing, that's fine, but he has to actually be hard swinging.
This will improve
If he's
your
not, you
condition.
stop. Keep up with your Reinhardt. You don't want to be over here.
Get into position.
Sure. Swap to damage. Swap to damage. Your Reinhardt is not brawling. Swap to damage.
Not
No,
ready.
he's fine. Now you're going to hard heal him. No. Stop doing damage and hard heal him. Okay, and now you can go, okay, now I'm going to think about, because I have no resource, but even if you did have a resource, at this point you'd think about starting to weave in some damage, because you can let your hot heal for a couple seconds while you do a little right click, and then go back to healing for, healing to get the hot applied again, or to do some real healing if necessary, and then go back to right click, whatever the case may be here. You're totally out of resource, and it's basically what we thought. This has really come from two big mistakes. You overhealed the ball, you overspent resources. If you hadn't, you'd have resource left at this point, and you overdid the Reinhardt when some hot healing stuff would have done it when he was, like, you were thinking you wanted him to hard swing, but he had about as much distance between him and his target as he does now when you were hard healing. Now, hard healing him to get him up to this much or even a little bit higher, fine, but you were hard healing him when he had, like, this much health or even this much health. Like, no, stop it. Stop it. And as there gets to be more space between him and his opponent, you're even less likely to hard heal him, in part because he's likely to take less damage, and in part because his shield is going to go up, which is going to cause him to take less damage. He knows he has a limited range. And now you're playing on fumes. You're playing on fumes and you don't have your ult yet, which is a problem. There it is. So 1 for 4 on 3-person tires so far. Hot equals heal over time to clarify potential confusion. Yes, people have different video game backgrounds. I should remember that. But yes, hot is heal over time. Okay, I'll catch up on some of that chat in a bit.
30 seconds remaining.
You're almost out of time. No slacking now.
Touch from afar.
Play tighter on cover.
Allow me. Tell me how this
Playing right in the middle of nowhere. Could play from here. Right-click the hog. Throw your healing orb in on your team. Could try to play around this and at least have this to work with. Could try to rotate up and play around phone booth where you can heal your team, right-click on them. Please don't play here. Please know where your cover is. Your team is going to hard push. You hit EMP. So we're going to swap to Speed Aura, right? Okay. Bad joke.
10 seconds.
Careful.
Surrender to my will.
No. We're not going to put Coalescence into this because we're winning this fight hard. Yes, he popped that, and they have Belt going, so they have 2 ults going, but there's also only 3 of them. I don't want to pop your Coalescence into this because I want to win the next fight too. Exactly. Ouch.
Objective A captured. Escort the dead.
Less hot discussion in Mario Kart. That's true. That's true.
Regenerating the cellular structure.
Okay. You can't fade that far. If you felt you needed to fade to get out of Blizzard, so be it. But you needed to stop here, is where you needed to stop. Because you have to be able to still contribute to this because we're in overtime. You can't leave the fight this far. And now you're spending time getting back, and you're late on healing Lucio, and it doesn't matter, but... Yeah. Sure would have been nice to have Coalescence for that fight. We finally got a Sim skin. It's only been 2 years. Okay.
Ready for battle.
I'll be watching.
Lifeguard
over
skin
you.
for Overwatch 2, please. Oh, are you trying to go like, hey, Mercy or Baywatch starring Mercy? Is that where we're going? Okay.
Do not deviate from the plan.
Okay,
Victory
so we're
is-
done with Moira. We're moving on to Mercy. So what we're thinking about for our Moira, again, I could bring this into 3 things. I don't want to give you 9 things to work on in this video. I really pared it down to 2 for your Lucio, and we'll probably do the same thing for your Moira. But what we need to think about for your Moira is please use cover. Please use cover. You can use your Reinhardt's body as cover, your Roadhog's body as cover, your Sigma's body as cover. Those are real things. My preference, though, whenever available, is to use hard cover as cover. Those are real things. You can slip out and right-click past them, or you can close on the cover and heal your Reinhardt that's right here. So heal your Reinhardt that's right here, and then when you have chances to shoot, peek out a little, and go like that. So you can like adjust, open, and close the angle based on whether you need to do damage or not. And you can do damage while your heal over time is rolling on your Reinhardt, assuming your Reinhardt isn't just getting blown up, in which case, yes, you need to hard heal him. So that's a thing. And in general, this will help with your Lucio as well, since we're doing this baby step style with your Lucio, where we want to know where our cover is. We do not want to play in the middle. We don't. We want to know where our cover is. If we're playing in the middle, we better have a Reinhardt body between us and the opponents, or a Roadhog body between us and the opponents, or whatever the case may be. So that's going to be the first thing. The second thing that we are going to get into here, and again, this is going to be your biggest difference maker short term. No, this is actually going to be your biggest difference maker for Moira. It really is. Your other thing is going to be another pretty big difference maker, and that is going to be your ult. We talked about how to use your ult. Your ult is not a generic, I feel like I'm behind on people, I'm going to catch up. It's not a generic, oh, let me support this person's flux. You didn't get any good ults on Moira. You really didn't. You didn't get any good ults on Moira, and that's a problem. Good ults on Moira are the 2 things I explained mostly. You go, hey, I'm going for an elimination, and I'm going to get it, which it looks like you tried to do on Junkrat, but you executed incorrectly. It was too early when you pulled the trigger on your ult. Your team wasn't actually engaged yet, so there wasn't enough other pressure on the team. and the rest were just random with what you were doing with your ult. So our ult is either to try to get a squishy that's a second and a half, maybe 2, maybe 3 seconds from cover, which should be easy to do in bronze. People get too far from cover all the time, and you can absolutely take over games eliminating squishies with your ult. It's freaking amazing. Like you should have no problem if you can get some level of handle on this, taking over games anytime you get your ult up as Moira in bronze here, because people don't respect cover. You don't respect cover. This counters this. Or counters lack of this. This will exploit the fact that other people do what you do and don't use cover here. So that's what we want to do. Again, the other totally valid use of our ult is to pocket our tanks. And if we get an elimination and then have 4 seconds of ult left, 3 seconds of ult left, 2 seconds of ult left, shift down to enabling your tanks that are in brawl range with your ult. You can try to get maximum cleave, but get maximum cleave while keeping it on your tank. So like getting the tank plus 3 other people, getting the tank plus 2 other people, but pick a tank and stay on that tank and just try to get cleave while still qualifying as healing that tank. That's the second thing I want you to work on. The third thing, if I were to give you a third thing, would be resource management. There's some gaps in your resource management, but your resource management is actually very good for a bronze Moira. So we're not going to go there. We could talk about your fade and how you're not always having a great plan on where to fade, on how you're sometimes not fading when you should. We could go into your fade, but we're not going to. I don't want to give you too many things because you're playing a lot of heroes here.
Good choice.
Oh, let's catch up here. Didn't need that. Oh, someone was asking about reviews. Okay, what was our question about reviews? How does one schedule work for the paid coaching sessions? I DM him Quackers, and he always gets back to me within 10 minutes or so. I am not guaranteeing a getting back to you within 10 minutes or so. That may be what happened with you, but I do not guarantee that. I'm generally fast to get back to people, but I have no 10-minute guarantee. Is it just VOD review on stream like at X time, or does he schedule Discord calls? I'll do both. Whatever you want. Right, yeah, blah, it's either way. He does 2 different VOD reviews. Right. The 30 minutes, 1 hour. Yes. You can be live for the 30-minute one. You can be live for the 30-minute one. Well, the 30-minute one is live like this, yeah. But you aren't going to be in a call with me in a 30-minute one. Like if I'm doing a Discord screen share, if someone else can see my screen and is talking with me and we're going over it together, and together means more than them just asking a few questions in YouTube chat, it has to be the hour session. I will generally do this even if I go long generally for the 30-minute session, at least for now, even if I go long. But if you want to be like in a call with me and pick my brain and ask me more than a few questions in YouTube chat, it's got to be the 60-minute session. That said, I'm perfectly happy to do it either way, and I will answer quite a few questions in YouTube chat if you have them. You just can't pick my brain quite the same way, and I can't check your understanding quite as thoroughly. But it's sort of entertaining like this as well. So whichever way you want to go. The $40 package should be pretty appetizing. My rates are very low. My rates are very low for what I offer. My competition's rates, and by competition I mean the ones that actually have credentials and are actually good at this and actually have, hey, this isn't just some guy on Fiverr is like, hey, I've done this. My competition mostly has higher rates than me. So yeah, my rate should be good. Done both. They're both great. Right. It is sometimes going to feel rushed if we do the 30-minute one. Unlikely to cover. Okay, now you're quoting for my thing. Thank you, blah. Yeah, you said it was mine. Okay. I can't wait to see Queen Mercy gameplay. Okay. Could get one for a Hog review, but I honestly don't think there is much strategy on Hog besides frag on hooks and hold grounds you want to keep like Kite on Hollywood. There is more strategy to that. It's when do you flank? What does your timing look like? How do you use breather? When does it make sense to off angle? Are there times it makes sense to play with core and shield break? There's more to Hog than just frag on hooks and hold high ground. Like, there is more to him. You like Mercy's combat skin. Bronze Hog equals flank hook for SR if you hit your hooks, yeah. And you get your engagement timings right. But if you hit your hooks and get your engagement timings right, oh, that doesn't sound like a Bronze Hog. Baywatch Mercy, lol, okay. No, I would not expect that we're going to get through two VODs in an hour review, Quackers. Like, if you want steered stuff where you go, hey, let's specifically do defense on Anubis and then first point attack on Hollywood, something like that, I can certainly do that, but I would not count on covering multiple VODs in a hour review session. Like, to keep in mind, this is a 22-minute VOD, and I've been on this one for more than an hour. So, like, just because the VOD is 9 minutes doesn't mean we're going to spend 9 minutes covering it. I will go into depth. I will go at a speed that is necessary to maintain, something of a schedule. But like, I will go into depth to make sure you understand things, to pick your brain more, to go deeper or less deep into questions based on sort of what the time allows there. And I will use the time that is there to coach you, etc. But I'm not going to be like, oh, well, let's do 3 15-minute VODs because we have an hour, because I just have to go way too fast for you. Right. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Submit Mystery Heroes and see how that goes. Oh, hey, if someone's willing to pay me for it, I'll review Mystery Heroes. I'll probably review a Mystery Heroes at some point regardless, but hey. Should I generally plan Cole before the push to initiate, and then I try to call out who I'm focusing as? No, because you don't need people's help to take out the target. The help that you need to take out the target is you need your team in and brawling. You need your team putting pressure on the other team. You don't need your team attacking specifically the target that you're trying to remove with Coalescence. You just would like the other team to be strained in general by your team. You don't need your team's help. Other than that, you can use your team rather than cooperate with them. It can be and it's easier to use your team than to cooperate with them. It can be they're in, the fight just started, we just entered the brawl phase, and I Coalescence. So we're just about to enter the brawl phase, and I Coalescence. That is totally fine. And you should plan to use Cole. You should be mentally planning, I would like to call this push, and I would like to call as soon as the brawl starts, but as soon as the brawl starts and I see a squishy that is a little bit out of position, or as soon as the fight starts, because I'm going to use it on my tank that is then swinging, my Rein swinging, or my D.Va in their Winston's face, or my Winston in their Winston's face, or whatever the case may be. Hey, Semitic. Oh, you on a 4-hour drive home? Okay. Glad you're listening in. Keep the eyes on the road, but glad you're listening in. Watch the road, not YouTube. Exactly. You're diamond right now, so nothing is super free with how toxic people are once you make a single mistake. Ha! Thinking you've only made a single mistake. You think in diamond people only make a single mistake before, like, you that's a mistake that they've caught. GMs make multiple mistakes in the first minute. Like, there's more than a single mistake. That's not me calling you out, Quackers. That's just how it is. So it's best for me to try to recognize when engage is happening as a trigger. Exactly. When we're there committed. And what committed generally means, it can differ a little bit based on the comps that are driving into each other, but it's when they're sort of in or you're in, and it would be expensive, meaningfully expensive. It would cost them resources. Perhaps that's people's lives. Perhaps that's like our Rein shield is going to break. Perhaps that's all of their DM. It would cost them very real resources to disengage. Like, they're in at that point. I'm not saying you make a single mistake. I'm saying as soon as you make the first major mistake, it's flame from there on out. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and it shouldn't be, but unfortunately it is. Okay.
5, 4, 3,
I'm here.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So,
Damage.
this is why we don't start the game.
Defend Objective
with the
A.
sightline open because there's widows and things like that. And it's bronze and you're moving and she misses her shot, but this is why we don't do that. If we wanted to enable this, we did it from hotel. We're just like, I'll enable this from hotel. We did not do this from back here because that spawn point is too powerful. Boost the soldier and Orisa. Yep. Boost the soldier preferably. Get out. Get out. You don't want to get stuck here. Leave. Leave. Guardian Angel out, please. Please, Guardian Angel out. Please, Guardian Angel. Please, Guardian Angel. Please, please, please. All this time, as soon as your team started to back up at all, you could have Guardian Angeled out to here and had your pick of who you were healing or boosting. All this time. But instead you were here and you risked getting stuck. You risked them rounding the corner and punishing you quickly.
Let me get you patched up.
Too much healing. That target's been full for ages. Don't need to heal the Rhine unless the Rhine is taking damage. We can damage boost the people behind it. Damage boost it. Damn it. Good, good, good. Sim doesn't really have range right now. Cool. I don't love... What are you doing? Why do you think you can walk through this? I don't love this. I can live with this. This is not a thing. This is not a thing. Like, let me walk across the point that is controlled by blue team to get from red team, cover, let me walk across the point, not even Guardian Angel, walk to Symmetra. No. No. We just wanted to be like, I'll tuck back here and I'll damage boost these two. Like, I'll tuck back here and I can damage boost Samwell here, or I can peek for a moment to damage boost Orisa or heal Orisa, and then go back behind cover and my beam will stay on Orisa, and I can even flick it between heals and damage depending on her health situation, her reload situation, for, you know, a good 1.3 seconds, I want to say, might be 1.2, before it drops, and if it drops, I reacquire Samwell, and then decide if I want to peek again to re-grab my beam on her. Like, this is what you do right now. You do not walk across the point through the blue team.
You've got this. Your support has
No.
arrived.
You don't do this, but okay. And if you were going to do this,
Your support has
you actually
arrived.
do a bunny hop, and you Guardian Angel past her, and you try to res her from this side, or at least partially from this side of the sim wall. Like, you want to sort of be like, hey, these guys are paying more attention to me. That's scary too, but can you have, like, Guardian Angel past and used this sim wall? It's not amazing. Can you split the sim wall so that you're like this? Like, you'd want it to be at the very least tighter on the sim wall. But like right here, where it's like, hey, I've got sim wall, I've kind of got car, that was probably your best bet if you were going to try to force that. You bunny hop across the point instead? Yes, I learned. There you go. There you go. Better to just let them feed,
I
exactly.
must go where I'm needed.
I think half of Plague Mercy is to know when to let people get eliminated. Maybe not half, but it's definitely a meaningful portion. We farming Valk?
60
Okay.
seconds.
I'm not sure that was worth, but okay. Wait. Did this just happen?
60 seconds. Stop the payload.
D.Va just tried to force a fight with you and with Symmetra. You're right here and Reinhardt is right here. Destroy her. Like, absolutely crush her. There's a sim that's right here that can't really be supported, or not a sim, a D.Va right here that can't really be supported. Hello, we will happily take this free elimination. Like, yes, she's going to boost her away, but make her spend the life, make her leave. You have all the time in the world. This card has to roll out of the garage, go here, and then get to here before you guys are worried about it. Punish this D.Va for now. No, you don't need to run from her. You have two friends there. Okay.
Damage increase.
What? You were perfectly happy here. You could pick whoever you wanted to damage boost. You do not need to stare at the enemies. And if you did want to stare at the enemies, you could do it through this window right here. You don't in any way, tip of the spear Mercy? What? No. And it's harder to change targets and pick who's best to damage boost right now because you can't see anyone. Over here, you could see all of your friends, except for your BAP, and be like, I can see all of you. It's very easy for me to pick who's the best to damage boost at any given moment. Do I want to damage boost Soldier? Yeah, it was Reinhardt Fire Striking. Let me throw a quick boost on him. Oh, Sims charged an orb to full. Maybe I want to boost her for a moment. Oh, Holt is going out? Great. Let me boost Soldier and hope he sends out Helix. Let me generally boost Soldier. Like that. Oh, my Orisa went down to 30% life. Let me help stabilize them a little bit. Get them back up to, maybe get them up to 50% life, then let my BAP take back over. Like, those are things that you can be doing from here. Here, you can't see what's going on. You can see the opponents, but who cares about them? You don't interact with the opponents as Mercy. You interact with your team. Phantom damage, maybe a medical condition.
Healing stream engaged.
As for where the damage was coming from.
Is approaching.
Sounds good, Quackers.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay. Damage boost the Sim. I don't really need to help Ryan.
Don't let up. It's
You just
almost
Valk.
over.
You just Valk immediately. Because they're on the victory point, and I don't know which way this fight is going to go, and all of your team is still alive, and Valk gets worse the later into the fight we get. Generally speaking.
Heroes never die.
Fine.
Damage boost engaged.
It's also last fight. Almost last fight. They could get another. Damage boost. Now back to heal. You should not have been lifted by this. Heal.
Out there.
10 seconds remaining.
The great team.
Okay. I hope you called that. I hope you're aware of that self-destruct. Hi, Tyre. Unfortunate.
Victory.
Okay.
Right.
Fine. Things that we want you to think about on Mercy. Positioning. This should be a reoccurring theme. We've talked about cover, we've talked about positioning, all these things. You, again, would like to have cover. As Mercy, your positioning is a little bit different, but it's sort of like the defensive Moira. Remember when I was like, Moira could be here while your Rein is here, and Moira could peek to shoot at the enemy, but she can tuck back here when she's healing her Reinhardt? Well, Mercy is kind of constantly in this I can be back here position, and I can pick, because if I'm here, I can see who I want to heal or damage boost. I have lots of good selections. I also have cover against the enemy. Great. Fantastic. I don't need to see what the enemy is up to. Maybe I peek every once in a while if I really want information, but I don't peek nearly as often as you are. I don't run in front of my team. I actually spend my attention checking flanks and things like that, and my attention on my team so I can see who's best to damage boost, to heal, etc. That's more what we're thinking about. So get yourself out of there, get yourself into these positions with cover, and use it as Mercy. And then damage boost more. Like, you're missing out. You're healing people that are full health. You're damage boosting your Sim when your soldier's firing. Like, damage boost is how you increase your contribution with Mercy. Like, it really is. You look for, okay, who's doing damage? Let me make sure I'm not healing full health people for no good reason. Let me really look aggressively for more opportunities to damage boost. But the more important thing, and the most important takeaway in general from this VOD, would be think more about your cover. Play more from your cover. You might leave cover. You might leave cover to Guardian Angel across the point to the other side and immediately hop back into cover. You might leave cover to Bident grasp someone. You might leave cover as Lucio to spam a choke, etc. But you only leave cover a little bit. But think about cover. That's going to be your big takeaway for this game. I hope that all makes sense. If you have questions, you can throw them up in chat now. If other people have questions, they're certainly welcome to throw them in chat too. If you guys are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Yeah. Phantom damage, don't res it. Oh my god. Still get eliminated by Remech sometimes because you forget it's a thing? Yeah. And you just laugh. That's a healthy response. More people go down to D.Va Remech than Doomfist ult. They also get used a little differently. Like, Doomfist ult is only sort of used for its offensive potential. A big portion of its use is its out status. It's, hey, you get out after having used all your abilities. You invested all of your abilities offensively, so you use your ult to survive while you get your cooldowns back. But yes, it does have better visual indicators for the other team than D.Va's does. That said, D.Va's is a lot smaller than Doomfist's. Though, obviously, Doomfist has, some degree of fall off to it, where hers doesn't. Yeah. Has anyone had Grav Call Mech happen to them yet? That's a fun one. I agree, Blah. She really doesn't need it. Like, it's not a good solution. They're trying to disencourage staggering, but that's not really what it does. This is all great and makes sense. Excellent. I'm happy to hear it, Trashcan Main. No high-risk cresses. Yeah, but I'm not going to get into that one. The no high-risk reses thing. This was great. Everyone should get temporal coaching. I highly recommend it, unless you're also an Xbox, because I would like my opponents to stay dumb and not have cover like you. Fair, but some of them might end up on your team, and wouldn't it be nice to have competent teammates? Yeah, I know. We can't control whether they're going to end up on your team or not, unless you do organized play, which I do recommend. Okay, if there's more questions, you guys can throw them up, but that looks like it does it. Again, if you are enjoying the content, go ahead and hit that like button, and that's going to do it for now. Is 3 heroes too many to work on if I'm trying to focus and improve? Not necessarily. It's not necessarily too many heroes, but I'd narrow it down. For most people, I recommend working on one hero at a time. Now, it's okay, especially if your hero isn't a very flexible hero, to go, okay, I need to play another hero sometimes, or like, I already have worked on this hero a lot, so I'm working on this hero primarily, but when the situation absolutely calls for it, I'll go play this hero I've already worked on a lot. But it's going to be hard if you're playing 3 heroes, and you're probably playing 3 heroes to give yourself a little bit of variety, a little bit of change of pace, and I understand why that's pleasant to have that change of pace, but we're not looking to give you a change of pace. We're looking to have you work on something specific until you've got it, and then work on the next thing specific. We're not looking to be like, oh, I would like a pleasant change of pace. Like, no, if you want a change of pace, go for a hike, go on a run, go swimming, go play an RPG, go play chess, go cook dinner, like go do something else if you want a change of pace, maybe something productive, maybe something that'll, build your health, build your ability to do this, whatever. Don't go, I want to play a different hero as your change of pace. Again, I don't have an issue with going, hey, I have 3 heroes in my hero pool, and eventually you will build out a hero pool that's can do multiple supports, but I would limit your focus. I'd recommend limiting it more, at least in the beginning. At least when you're serious about working on your improvement. Okay, Lucio isn't typically a climbing hero. He can be, but I've had good success on him. What would be a safer bet for one-tricking? I guess that's true. There's enough Mercy one-tricks that being a Lucio one-trick is a little dangerous, so you want a second hero that you can play. Sure, because Lucio Mercy is painful. Lucio should be flexible enough, but he's not flexible enough around a reality of ladder, which is that there is at certain levels, there are a lot of Mercy one tricks. So yeah, probably have a second here. I don't know if it has to be Moira. I suppose your hero pool in some ways can't be Lucio Mercy. It can, but I suppose it can't be, because if your hero pool is Lucio Mercy and someone else picks Mercy, you're in the same situation if you're stuck playing Lucio Mercy. Mercy Brig isn't as bad, so if you built a main support hero pool, that's not bad. Mercy Brig isn't amazing, but it's not as bad. But you could also just say, that's going to happen. I'm going to keep getting better at Lucio. Or you can play a ton of Moira. Like, that's fine too. I don't have an issue with that. I think Moira has limits in how high you can go with her, but you're nowhere near that, and you'll learn lots of good skills on the way. There's not the true limits in how... Well, there are limits to how high you can go on her, but those limits are in GM. And those limits are in organized play. Yeah, okay. Okay. Does Mercy fall under the not flexible hero, so it's okay working on Zen at the same time as Mercy? Yes, because if your teammate picks Mercy, Mercy Zen is a great support combination. Problem solved. You're fine. I'm a Flex Lucio swimming player. There you go. There you go. People are going to think you're trying to say you're Swimmer, who's a Lucio player, but I get where you're going. Zen triggers your team too much. Tilted players out the gate isn't great at the start of a match. Who cares? You can't play your whole game and plan everything around, well, what's not going to tilt my team? Because, again, you're playing to improve, and what tilts one team won't tilt another team. I've put the most time in on Rein. Got it. That might explain some of the tip of the spear stuff. Yeah. I haven't had much said about picking Zen. Right. Brig, on the other hand, gets hate before the game starts. Well, Brig is a specialist hero. Brig has comps that she just doesn't make sense in. You really can't fit her in very well, too. There are times when I'm playing support, and it just feels like I need more healing output than Lucio in bronze, which is why I'm trying to add Moira. More heals aren't always the solution, but okay. I get it. Is aggressiveness a bad thing on Zen? I'll routinely flank and get and eliminate two, and sometimes get out, but I'm noticing it's getting me eliminated more the higher rank I get to. Yeah, and it will continue to do that. The higher you go, the more it'll get you. That doesn't mean you can never do it, but the situations in which you can do it get tighter and tighter as you go up. Okay, Dave. If you want to one-trick a support, pick Bap. Yeah, he's pretty darn flexible and pretty self-sufficient. He's a pretty strong main one-trick. Yeah, that's fair. Why do people complain about Mercy one-tricks over any other support one-tricks? Do I want to get into that discussion? Oh, we're an hour and a half into the VOD review. Why not? Sure. So, some of the reasons that people get onto Mercy one-tricks more than other one-tricks is a couple-fold. One of them is going to be Mercy had a time, season 1 of Owl specifically, where she was broken overpowered. Not as much as Bastion was that one time, but she was broken overpowered for a pretty long period of time. And in some ways that led to a very diverse meta because Mercy enables a huge percentage of the cast, but Mercy was hugely overpowered, and people don't like it when a hero is so hugely overpowered that people ride their way up on the SR ladder. And the same thing happened with D.Va, by the way, when we had the 400 armor D.Va, 4 seconds of DM, almost no delay between being able to undeploy and redeploy DM, faster regeneration on DM. When a character gets extremely overpowered like that, some people are going to, or Brig, when, release Brig, they're going to ride the ladder way up on that hero, and then they're not going to play much, or or people are going to feel like they're not playing much, so they're maintaining their masters, they're maintaining their diamond, they're maintaining their whatever, when if they played more after the patch, they'd fall pretty quickly, but they don't. But different people play different amounts, different people come back at different times, so you have to sort of deal with the lingering result of someone having climbed on a super overtuned hero. You have to deal with the lingering results of that forever, almost. Not actually forever, but for quite a while after the hero has been nerfed, because the MMR, the ladder, is first going to assume when you come back that your SR is about what it was than when you left. And if you don't play very many games, it could be very slow that your drop happens. But even though you're not playing very many games, someone else is coming back at a different time and not playing very many games. And someone else is coming back at a different time and not playing very many games. So it doesn't quickly fall to what a more appropriate place is. And that's sort of the issue with massively overtuning a hero. And they've been a bit better recently about this, but that's the issue that you have when a hero is massively overtuned and stays that way for a relatively long amount of time, because you get a lot of people that go up, and then when their hero gets nerfed, they don't like it, so they play less, and they come back and play a little bit. And it feels like, even if it's not true, when people start losing games, it becomes a source of, I bet this is a boosted Mercy, I bet this is a boosted D.Va, a boosted Brig, etc. So that would be one of the things that's going on there. Another thing that is going on there is, let's face it, if a Mercy duo queues with an Echo, Ashe, Widow, McCree player, and this player is really good, and the Mercy player only learns how to pocket this one player, they're able to ride the SR. They won't climb SR as quickly as this player does, but they shouldn't fall too far to get too separated from this player, and they should be able to go up. And then maybe in the future they don't play with this player, and then they're sitting up there in Masters, or whatever the case may be, and they're doing this slow descent thing that people really don't like. It's, again, a lot of it has to do with this slow descent thing that happens. Or a perception of this slow descent thing that happens. It's not always real, but it's a perception. Because this happens some, people can blame it more often than it actually happens for why they're losing their game. And people like to displace reasons for losing off themselves, off to anything credible. It helps protect their ego. It's how humans are designed. Designed might be the wrong word, but it's how humans are. Other things we get into is, some people would tell you that Mercy's skills are less transferable than other heroes. There's some truth to that, but only some. It was a reason that caught on, and in some ways it can be, like, it can be fashionable to dislike something or to dislike someone. It can be fashionable, and then someone gives you a reason that seems plausible, and it's like, oh, this is why that person doesn't like Mercy, or this is why I don't like Mercy, because it's actually just fashionable, and I want to be in the in crowd that doesn't like her, but they given me a reason, so I'll latch on to this reason. And that would be the theoretical reason that her skills don't transfer as well as don't transfer to other heroes the same way. So if you have two Mercy one tricks, neither of them can play anything else well at all. Whereas if you have a McCree one trick, your McCree one trick, if you have two McCree one tricks, and one of them goes, fine, I have to play something else, they're Hanzo, they're Soldier, they're Widow. One of those are probably going to be okay. Even if they don't put any time into them, one of those is probably going to be okay, for example. The belief is that with Mercy, well, there aren't very many transferable skills. I'd argue that there's some reasonably transferable skills on Mercy. I mean, obviously you can pick up the generic skills like ult tracking. Her positioning is different than other supports' positioning, but her concept of tracking where your allies are is very much a transferable skill to someone like BAP. Her understanding when to heal versus when to damage boost is a somewhat transferable skill to Moira. Understanding her Valk timing is a very transferable skill to using other heroes' ults, to understanding when engagement timing works, which is a transferable skill to DPS and tank heroes. Like, she's got some transferable skills. I could probably get into more here, but I'd say those are some of the main reasons that jump to my mind, Val. I'm sure you have opinions too on the matter, though. But in lower elos, people take so much unnecessary damage. I kind of understand the more heal mentality, even if it does mean just be a heal bot. You can understand it, but that doesn't make it right. I'll have to jump off, but so much super helpful. Moth meta was the best meta. Okay. It wasn't terrible. I didn't particularly mind it, truth be told. Moth meta. Still have a 5-man res highlight. Okay. It was before Moth meta. Yeah, definitely. Moth meta was her original rework / Valk. Yes. 10 out of 10 history lesson. That explains a lot, so people assume all Mercies are in the same boat. Some of it. I'd be careful with the all word, but yeah. Mercies got boosted with DPS duo. Mercies get boosted with DPS duos as well. I see groups all the time asking for Mercy Pocket. Yeah, I think I covered that one, but you probably commented on it before I did. I've seen that criticism towards Mercy players, but it's hypocritical. Yeah, the DPS player also got boosted and probably doesn't maintain his rank without a consistent Mercy. Sort of. Yes, that's true, YS, but that's only true if they weren't alt accounts in the first place. Like, if you they're unlikely to go up. The Mercy plus hit scan pairing or Mercy plus Echo or Pharah pairing is unlikely to go up if this person isn't smurfing. Like, the assumption in what's sort of being described here is that this person is smurfing. Like, and the reason it's assumed and the reason it sort of works if you play like that, if the DPS player is boosting, is because Mercy gets most of her value. Mercy channels her value into the match through other people. So she is in some way tied to how good are the other people, and much of her skill, she's not really tied to how good are the other people, though there's some of that, but the way that a Mercy maximizes her value around the fact that she's somewhat tied to what other people can do is she picks the best target to damage boost and heal at every instant. That's how you squeeze lots and lots of value out of Mercy. And it works pretty well to go, hey, we're going to squeeze lots of value out of Mercy like that. That's fantastic. But you sort of get to just like turn this off and not have to think about this if 90% of the time your best boost value is the Ashe who's smurfing, who you're duoed with and know is smurfing. Like, you get to skip all of this thinking. And the game is still going to reward you because the correct choice was to pick the Ashe 90% of the time. Because the Ashe is 1000 SR better than the players that he's playing with. So, yes. And the Ashe knows how to use a Mercy Pocket. So they're going and taking advantage of the fact that they have a Mercy Pocket. So that's sort of what you run into. Or the belief of what you run into. How much is it actually happening? Different question. I've noticed Mercy gets blamed more than other supports. Have you talked to Blah about Lucio? I don't mind pocketing a good DPS, but only if it makes sense with the rest of the team and the other supports. You need to learn how to play with more than one other person. Right, that's a skill that you'd have to learn, but if you're paired with someone, you're duo queuing with someone, and you can duo queue all the way up with someone who is smurfing, that's not necessarily true. If they're actually smurfing. If it's like, oh, I have an ult that's 200 SR higher, that's not really smurfing. What do you think about the player that does bronze to GM? What do I think about players that does bronze to GM every season, Mercy only? Oh, what do I think about the player that does bronze to GM every season, Mercy only? I don't know which player does bronze to GM every season only on Mercy. That seems kind of redundant. Like, you're not really getting value out of it. That seems sort of like a karma farm, whatever you want to call it, where like if you're doing it every season, you're not really providing new information. You're not really educating people at that point, and you are hurting some games as you're smurfing through. It doesn't bother me a ton because you get through pretty quickly, but you are sort of, if you're doing that every season, I understand people, there are a lot of people who don't like that, and I understand their argument of not liking that, and there's not a ton of good defense I can think of to, well, this is being done every season. Maybe every 3 or 4 seasons, sure, to show that it can still be done, so that to, sort of fight any Elo hell arguments. Well, it was like that then, but you don't understand what it's like now to fight any arguments like that, but probably don't need to do it every season. That just strikes me as someone who is sort of afraid to keep improving in GM, but I don't know, because I don't know who it is. And it might not be an afraid to improve a GM thing. It might be, hey, they're farming views, which I understand that too. I've rarely hard pocket one person. I'll boost Ash gladly 90% of the time, but if Zarya is 100% charge, I'm probably going to get off Ash and boost her. Positioning matters. You can get to top 500 by one-tricking any hero. Correct. He does it on the same account, though. So he has to crash that account to bronze every time? That's rough. Like, that's really rough to crash the same account. You make some terrible ladder games on the way through that. You mess up quite a bit in terms of the system, because the system is going to get very confused by that. The system should actually catch that, though. It should be written well enough to catch that and ban your account automatically. Not a permaban necessarily. It should be. I'm not saying it is, but it would be very easy to write your system. Like, players are allowed to get worse and then get better again, but that is a huge swing repeatedly. Like, that should be caught automatically by the system. Not saying it is, but it should be. That shouldn't even take people reporting. Okay. Neandra pistoled her way to Diamond when she did her unranked 2GM. Yeah, I hear you. Those are a little tough on Mercy, and part of the reason that they're a little tough on Mercy is players tend to either go, okay, pistol their way up to a level that, pistol their way with mechanics up to a level where the game makes sense, or shot call their way up to a level where it makes sense. And if you're shot calling the level up to a way where it makes sense, are they willing to identify in the games? Like, are they identifying, hey, I'm actually so-and-so, because that's kind of cheating. Because if you go, hey, I'm a top 500 Mercy player, I'm doing this, players might not believe you at first, but then if you can demonstrate it pretty quickly, they're going to listen to you more than they would listen to the average bronze player trying to shot call their way out. So neither of those are great for demonstrating to actual players how you do it. If you shot call your way up with your GM understanding of the game without people knowing who you are, and they just figured out from, oh my god, these shot calls are really good, this ult tracking is really good, that's fine. But that's not really a Mercy skill. You could do that on any hero. And so did ML7 a lot in Mercy and Rank to GM. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, they do. It's too frustrating, too slow, and takes too many games. You can absolutely do it without doing either of those things. You can get out of bronze. We've established this. You can get out of bronze doing the right things on Mercy, but they want their unranked to GM or bronze to GM to be, 8 hours or 12 hours. They don't want it to be 40 hours. And the game isn't going to be super certain that you belong above bronze as you crank out your 52, 54%, 56% win rate in bronze by doing all the right things. Like, it's not gonna like that. So, and that's gonna cause you to stick in bronze longer. So they're trying to speed their way through it. I understand it, but again, I'd prefer that people did it with shot calling rather than mechanics, and they did it with anonymous shot calling. If they're trying to prove the point of, people aren't stuck on Mercy, they're just doing it wrong. Anyone can do it. Like, anyone really can do that, and we've actually proved that. But if you're trying to prove that, and you're trying to prove it quickly, and not do like, okay, it's going to be a slow roll through, because it can be on Mercy, because Mercy is tied to the value of other people. She just has to pick the right other person at the right time, but there's still limits to that. Those limits will still get you an over 50% win rate, but they won't get you the 80%, the 70% win rate you can get by taking over a game with pistol mechanics or shot calling. I had a friend who pistoled only to Diamond in Season 3, but he was GM DPS. Yeah. Neandra makes entertaining videos rather than being known for a good teacher. Her rates are cheaper too, but I'm still here. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about losing clients to, oh, here's someone who is known for one hero. Like, it's not going to be a thing where people set up shop and it's like, here's the Genji instructor, here's the Mercy instructor, here's the McCree instructor, here's the Rhine instructor, here's the Zarya instructor. Like, that's not going to be a thing. I'm not worried about it. Oh, he doesn't record it. The person who throws and boosts throws and climbs every time. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. As a quick explanation, how do you ult track to a competent degree? So prioritize being generally correct over being specifically correct. So if we're red team and we're tracking blue team, it's totally fine to call that Mercy has Valk and that's the only ult on the board. It's totally fine to call that. You can be thinking of stuff, and stuff takes 1 team fight, 2 team fights, or 3 team fights to load. You want to think about it not in like specific percentages, but in when you're learning initially, but in like stuff takes 1, 2, or 3 team fights to get an ultimate, and I might adjust the team fights based on if I saw someone got eliminated early in the kill feed, or was on this side of the feed a lot, or I actually saw them do a lot of damage. Like I saw with my eyes as I'm ult tracking a Zarya do a lot of damage to a D.Va. And then for your level of play, you're going to go at the level of play that I'm ult tracking at. It's one of these things for this hero. So we might go, okay, D.Vas at my level of play take 2 team fights to get their ult. Junkrats take 2 team fights to get their ult. Mays take 3 team fights to get their ult. Moiras take 1 team fight to get their ult. Mercies take 2 team fights to get their ult. Sigmas take 3 team fights to get their ult. I'm making up these numbers. And then you'd go, okay, and I'm kind of doing this and I'm adjusting it. And you sort of know that, and you're not actually doing it exactly like this, but you sort of know that. And then you go, and maybe you adjust this and go, that team fight didn't count, or oh, this happened. But generally you're assuming it's 1 or 2 team fights for most people to get their ult. And then you're going, they have it if they didn't use it in the last one, unless they're like a, 3 team fight thing, etc. So you sort of end up in a situation where it's like, okay, they used... these numbers are wrong, so ignore these numbers. They used Coalescence and Tyre in the last fight. They just swapped onto Sigma, so I think they have these 3 ults, and I'm going to call that they have these 3 ults. And that's what your team wants to know at first. You'll get better, but that's sort of how you're initially going to think about it. I was surprised at how fast Tanzo can get a dragon. Okay. Okay. He shoots logs instead of arrows. Feels like it sometimes. I hear you. Okay. I hope that more than sort of answered your ult tracking question. Maybe I'll do a video specifically on ult tracking. I need to do a video specifically on ult tracking for you guys. But that's going to do it for now. Remember, if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. But we're going to call this 2-hour VOD review.